Have you been selected by Microsoft for an audit, software asset management, or SAM engagement in your company? Would you like to reduce your settlement by 15 to 20% or save hours of wasted time arguing with Microsoft? Are you worried that you may not have all the data necessary to respond correctly? Do you feel that even though it's presented as a simple process, that this may somehow be an audit in disguise? Hey there everybody, it's Mike Austin, the expert on how to save money on your Microsoft licensing requirements. Let me tell you why I'm uniquely positioned to help you reduce your purchase exposures identified during SAM engagements and audits. I personally have negotiated over $1 billion of contracts with Microsoft. Over the last 12 months, I helped clients just like you negotiate over 40 deals. The results that we were able to obtain were staggering, with an average savings of over 20%. Here's a quick look at a pitfall that one of our recent clients experienced. This client was in the process of renewing their Microsoft Enterprise Agreement, or more commonly known as just an EA. They were struggling trying to figure out how to renew software assurance on SQL Server. Quick reminder, Microsoft just made some major changes on how SQL is licensed. Their ever so helpful Microsoft sales rep suggested that they allow a partner, paid for by Microsoft. You should be suspicious of a free offer from your vendor, by the way. Use their free map tool to figure it out. What were they promised to receive? A SAM baseline that will help them figure out how best to optimize their SQL Server licenses. And then, the next thing you know, Microsoft is saying that they owe $500,000 because they are out of compliance for SQL Server. That left them saying, how did that happen? We thought we had enough licenses. Does this sound familiar to you? So, instead of negotiating the best deal on your EA renewal for the next 3 months, you're now faced with a new dilemma, reducing your compliance exposure from this surprise audit. You end up spending all your time arguing that the map tool has incorrect data. Microsoft tells you the data is the data. You then tried to explain that you have more licenses than are showing in the license report. Next, you became confused because you thought you understood the rules of licensing SQL Server, but you were told that you were wrong. This situation forces you to spend more money than needed just to make it all go away. Hold on, don't get frustrated and just give in. I can help you. What can you do differently so this doesn't happen to you? First, you should assume that a friendly SAM engagement is really an audit in disguise. Then you need to make sure that any data that you share with Microsoft or their SAM partner has been scrubbed before you share it. You need to assume that the map tool that you ran is full of errors because it is. You need to assume that 1. There are instances of software found that no longer exist in your environment. 2. That you will need to clearly identify production servers from test and development. 3. That the hardware inventory that is reported on is not necessarily accurate. 4. That your Active Directory has not been cleaned up in a while, and that the data you provided shows more users or devices than you actually have. 5. That how they map licenses for virtualization is wrong. It's hard to map the virtual sessions to physical hardware like they are asking. Even though our client cleaned up their report prior to sharing with Microsoft, they were still in trouble. What did Microsoft's certified SAM partner do? They began to make a whole lot of incorrect assumptions. Here's a snapshot of this client's actual estimated license position that was created by the SAM partner. Notice the deltas in the estimated compliance gap identified? So here's what frequently happens. You will be told that the partner reviewed the product use rights, or PUR, and that you are in violation of the licensing rights associated with SQL Server. Even when you think you know what you can do with the product, SQL Server in this example, you may be in for a big surprise. For instance, did you know that SQL Server 2012, 2008 R2, 2008, and 2005 all have different virtualization rights? So that means if you have multiple versions in your environment, you may not be able to apply the same rules to all of your servers. Or there is a multiplexing rule that is difficult to monitor and could cost you hundreds of thousands if not managed correctly. How do you manage that? How do you ensure the licenses that you own are applied to the right servers so that you are compliant? Come on, Microsoft's SAM partner or Mylar will do that for me, right? Nope, that's what our client thought as well. I know what you're thinking. Mike, hold on. Microsoft said this SAM engagement would help us. They even provided us an analysis that shows how they applied the licenses. Are you still saying this is wrong? Experience tells me that a lot of time they are. They have used that bad inventory data we talked about. They have not investigated the PUR or identified all the licenses that the client owned. MS even told the client that they had to do this themselves, which is difficult for a decentralized global organization to do. In fact, Microsoft will tell you it's your responsibility to understand how their licensing works, not theirs. In the end, you may ask, well, Mike, how can you help me? I will. 1. Help you ensure your inventory is accurate. 2. Dive in and understand your deployments, including how your virtualized environment is set up. 3. Watch out for those tricky multiplexing scenarios. 4. I will help you identify areas where you may have licenses that you did not know and how to validate that. 5. I will research the PUR for you and provide you with the appropriate language to optimize your licenses. 6. I will take time and frustration out of the process by educating you and simplifying the very complex Microsoft licensing schemas. 7. I will help you explain to Microsoft how all this works. 8. I will save you money. And how did I help out that client that I showed you, you ask? Well, here was the new ELP that I created for them. You will clearly see that the licenses required have changed substantially. This was because we applied all the rules in the most optimal manner. Yes, this took a bit of back and forth with Microsoft and the SAM partner to get them to agree that this was right, but in the end you can see that the results are worth it. So, if you think I can help you, or if you have any questions, please call me today at 1-888-978-5129, extension 701, or send an email to info@method180.com to book a 30-minute exploratory call to determine if we can help you. Oh, and don't forget, even though we talked about SQL servers, SAM, and audits, we do all things Microsoft in terms of negotiation, all products, and we can even help you save that 20 to 25% on your EA renewals.